Another week, another list. What is going on, guys? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and welcome back to the channel. Today, of course, is the Hot 10 Comics of the Week breakdown, where I take the 10 hottest comics according to the Key Collector app, and I break them down for you, letting you know which books I'm buying at which prices. But if you guys have not checked out my other real Hot 10 list with the debut that just occurred this past Tuesday, make sure you're checking it out. An all new 10 books and brand new sales data for you guys to go through. With that said, if you're not a current sub of the channel, do yourself a favor, hit that sub button, smash the like button for me, and let's get into this week's breakdown. Starting us off this week at number 10 is a copy of Predator number 1 and the first appearance of the Predator in a standard comic. Last week we had a CGC 9.8 selling for $500, up 13% over the average. This book has been on and off the list for the better part of a couple of months. I've told you guys I'm early into this book in a 9.8 if I can get a raw copy for cheap, but other than that, I don't want to shell out cash for books like this. To me, it is just not worth it. Coming in at the 9th spot this week is a brand new book to this list. It is a copy of Daredevil number 131 and the first appearance and origin of Bullseye. And last week we had a super high grade copy, a CGC 9.6, selling for $855, up 7% over the average. Then we had a CGC 8.5 sale for only $285, but it's flat against the average. I love this book, one of my favorite yellow covered Bronze Age keys. I don't want to spend $1,000 on this book for a 9.6. Even $285 for an 8.5 seems a little bit high, but I gotta tell you, there are a lot of raw copies out there. For me, if I could stick to around $200 for an 8.0 copy in the raw form, I'd be all over it. Coming in at number 8 this week is one of my favorite covers of all time. It is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 316 and the third appearance of Venom. This is also the first full cover appearance of Venom in an iconic cover by Todd McFarlane. Last week we had a CGC 9.8 selling for under $500 at $476, up 6% over the average. So I always tell you guys this, 500 and under at a 9.8 for some of these keys, I want to be all over it. This one is no exception, but with that said, I've seen this book for around $426 on Instagram recently for sale and a 9.8 with good colors. So yes, I'm a buyer of this book for under 500, but just make sure you're getting the best deal possible that you can. At number 7 this week is some Bronze Age goodness. It is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 129 and the first appearance in Frank Castle and the Punisher. This is also the first appearance of the Jackal. And last week we had a CGC 9.4 selling for $4,080, up 10% over that average. Then we had a CGC 8.0 sale selling for $1,980, but still up 7% over the average. We all know that Bronze Age keys have definitely come down in price over the last couple of years, and I've been telling you guys for that time I wasn't a buyer. But if you're a 20-year holder and you want to own this book just like I do, I am a buyer right here now of this one. But I will say this, if you're not going to hold on to these books for the long term, I'd be staying away still from some of these bronze good ones. I personally love this copy. I love Frank Castle, the Punisher. I'm a big fan. So yes, I own this book. I've said this numerous times before. I've owned like 6 or 7 copies of one to this book. I always want to own it. But for me, do your due diligence. Buy the copy that you want to own in your collection for the long term. Finally, some Silver Age goodness at number 6. It is a copy of Fantastic Four number 48 and the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. This is also the first cameo appearance of Galactus. And last week we had a CGC 8.0 with the monster sale for $3,550, up 4% over the average. Then we had a CGC 4.5 sale for $1,101, up 13% over that average. I'm happy to see this book on this list, and I'm even more happy that finally we're getting some traction. I remember way back when, about a year ago, you could have probably had the same grade for around 900 and change. So to see a sale for $1,100 makes me feel good. But with that said, yes, I 100% want to own the book. One of the best books on this list and in the Silver Age, but I'm still thinking you can get a better deal on this one if you hunt for it. If you're going to own FF number 48, then you got to own this one here at number 5. It is a copy of Fantastic Four number 49 and the first appearance of Galactus. This is also the second appearance of the Silver Surfer. And last week we had a CGC 8.0 selling for $2,900, but get this, up an insane 29% over the average. Then we had a mid-grade CGC 4.0 sale for only $541, up 13% over that average. I live in the mid-grade when we're talking about these Silver Age keys. If you could find this one in a 4.0, 4.5 for around $500 or less, that's really what I want to spend. I'd definitely be a buyer of this one. I personally do not want to spend thousands and thousands on a high-grade copy with a lot of copies out there of 49 and 48. With that said, I still think it's a must-own book, so yes, I am a buyer of this one. Back on the list at number 4 is one of the few DC keys we've been seeing. It is a copy of Green Lantern number 59 and the first appearance of Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan's backup Green Lantern. And we just had a CGC 7.0 selling for only $457, but up 16% over the average. Then we had a CGC 4.0 sale for $242, up 14% over the average. I'm going to say this, I usually live in the mid-grade like I just told you guys, but if we're going to spend $500 or less, I want to get the best grade possible. But as I said last week, is now the best time to be buying this book. With the trailer we just got for Superman, I think not. So wait for the hype to die down if you want to own this one, but I think most Green Lantern fans probably already own this book. After a few weeks off, at number 3 is a copy of Uncanny X-Men number 141 and the first team appearance of the Brotherhood of Evil and the start of the classic storyline Days of Future Past. And last week we had a monster sale in a CGC 9.8 selling for an insane $1,095, up 36% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.2 sale for only $316, up 14% over the average. So let me clear my throat here. I'm going to say this. This book was on the list a few weeks back, and I said I probably could have found this book anywhere from $20 to around $60 or $50 around that range in the raw form, and somebody called me out and said there's no way I'm finding this book for that price. Well, I'm going to put it on the screen right now. My LCS, Zap Comics, just posted this book for sale a few weeks ago, and guess what the price tag is? $60. Now, I don't know the grade, but I gotta say it presents pretty well. So I'm gonna say one thing. I know everyone out there may not have an absolute great LCS in the area. I happen to, so if you haven't checked out Zap Comics, make sure you do so. Also, they sponsor one of my videos where I give you the top 5 best-selling books each week, so make sure you're checking out that video. So back to this book, yes, 100% if you're an X-Men fan, it is a must-own book. If you're not, I can't see spending this kind of money on it, but I do think you still find deals on this book if you don't really need to have super high grade in the raw form. Coming in at number 2 this week, if we have 48 and we have 49, we gotta have 50. It is a copy of Fantastic Four, number 50, in this iconic cover by the great Jack Kirby. This is also the 3rd appearance of the Silver Surfer and the 2nd appearance of Galactus. And last week with a CGC 9.0, an insane copy of this book selling for $3,800, up 14% over the average. Then we had a CGC 5.5 sale for only $385, but get this, up 22% over the average. First off, I'm not going to take $4,000 and put it towards a high-grade copy of this book. I don't see the value in that. I'd rather take that $4K and get a monster first appearance. That's just me. But for $385 for a 5.5, not a bad price, but I still think you can get this book for a deal if you could find it in the raw form, and that's what I'm going to. But either way, a must-own key. So you knew it had to happen. At the top spot this week is, guess what? It is a copy of Omega Men number 3 and the first appearance of Lobo. Back in the day, about a year and a half ago, this book was on the list at the top spot for literally 6 months and we couldn't get rid of it. It's back. Of course, we just got the news that Jason Momoa was finally cast as Lobo last week with a CGC 9.8, selling for a crazy $400 and up an insane 36% over the average. I'm going to say this. If you own this book right here right now, I'd be a seller, not a buyer. Been telling you guys this for the better part of 2 years. I want to own this book in a 9.8 for around $200, and that's all I'm willing to spend on this one. Love the character, don't love the price. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I'm really starting to enjoy doing this video again. I'm going to remind you, if you have not checked out the real hot list that I just put out, make sure you do so. You will absolutely love it. It is now time for my best buy of the week. And to me, this is a tough choice. A lot of great covers, FF50, ASM 316, ASM 129. But I'm going with the most important book on this list, and that is FF number 48, the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. Do your due diligence if you want to own this book. Ton of copies out there, so pay where you're comfortable paying. Hope you guys enjoyed the list. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.